Hi, and welcome everyone to Defining Consciousness. And this evening we're going to speak about, or try to actually answer a question, why we're still stuck. Why we're still stuck and do not really make the changes that are necessary for our life, for our growth. Why we, even though we intuitively and the way we think, it's like really, okay, we said to ourselves, okay, I know I need to change in this, I understood, I identify my belief system, I identify my greatness. Okay, now we keep speaking about making actions, but in the same time, we feel a bit, not just lack of clarity, but we feel stuck. And I wanted to talk about this. And Rav Ashlag, in the book on world peace, has this article that he explains the main reason why we are not really making any changes in our life. And the main cause and the main reason that we are stuck, sometimes we're so, desperate, and we are frustrated, and we are looking around about people that are surrounding us, and we see that they're not changing. But, we blaming other people of not being, to make any change in their life, not transforming, not really changing their behavior. So we constantly say, no, they're stuck probably. But when we look even about ourselves, we may be getting frustrated because we see that we haven't changed, even though we said that, we study, we meditate, we pray, we taking the step, following the step, but there is always a time within our process that we stop, and this is why I call it stuckness. And this is where Rav Ashlag is really diving into the cause, into the seed level of this matter, because it's really not enough just to, let's say, hear a class or come to a class, when we used to come to classes, to get the information, how can I connect with the light, how can I do restriction. It's amazing, but still it's not enough, because, we took upon ourselves different things that we said we want to change, we took the responsibility, but with the same time, each one of us has areas that I call them dead end. And an area, or at least one area like that we say, I know I need to change in this, and I'm trying, and I'm doing my maximum effort, but still I'm stuck in this area. For example, we can look in relationship, when we're saying that we opened up, but we know that we need to open up our heart even more, and we need to bring more compassion into the relationship, but we still in our mind, we understand this. In our heart, we understand this. We are not just the logical, also the internal understanding. We know we need to bring more compassion there, but still, we're not moving in that area. Another area is always about business or work. When I know that I need to work, maybe put more effort at work, or maybe I can do more, invest more in business, or whatever it is that you know all the tools, you have all the information, and still you said to yourself, but it's not moving, because something within me doesn't allow me to move. So why am I stuck? What is that needs to take place to make the change? What do I need to do? Kabbalistically speaking, what do I need to do to purify myself, or to purify especially that area that I need to get it going? Every area that I have like a shortcut, it's like one of the outcome of this, or one of the reasons that it's being discussed is like that we have a certain fear over there. So I'm certain I chose an area where I want to really empower it with a lot of light, and in the same area I have that particular fear, and it's all connecting to an unpurified energy, or a block, obviously, that it's blocked. So there's an indication of fear, because lack of light, which is darkness is fear. Wherever, imagine yourself, like if you get into a darkest room, automatically there is like this anxiety that starts, and we're afraid of the unknown, we're afraid of the darkness. So what does it mean? If I'm afraid, I don't feel the presence of the Creator in my life. I don't feel as certain as I am, or I was, or I want to be. Why? Because when there is light, there is certainty, and it's natural, and and I'm going with what I need to do, and I'm going with the flow. But there are areas, again, that lack of light is lack of purity. And there are areas that where we have the fear, the blockage, and we want to understand that even deeper, because the fear is preventing us from moving forward. This is why we feel this stuck. Rav Ashlag is explaining or talking about this idea that if you will look on any wisdom or any scientific knowledge, for example, if scientific knowledge like science, biology, chemistry, math, physics, the science, when we see the evolvement of science, it's enhancing even more and more. It's even when there are investment of more money in that, like it even became more expensive, and it's becoming like it's getting greater. The information is getting greater. Scientists are having more and more depth into their research than what they used to have 200 years ago, where they had 100 years ago, where they had 50 years ago, which means there is a growth. There is a growth. Like if we look about the way they were doing math 500 years ago, it's not the same that they doing math these days. Technology of 500 years ago, we know that it's not what it was 10 years ago, and today is definitely different. There is evolvement, constant evolvement, and in matter of fact, in the past, in technology, that was like really what happened in the past. It was like the bricks or the stepping stone that every step by step they evolved and increased their understanding and the knowledge and the equipment that came out of it. So I want to start reading from World Peace in page 134. Okay, and in page 134, it's part of a general article of chapter 4 that is called The Successful Way. And I want to look at this in the middle section. If you have this book, I'm going to read this. Why there is no progress in divinity. למה אין התקדמות באלוקיות? It's in Hebrew. And it says, out of this discussion, a major question emerges. Why there is no progress in divinity, in the divine inspiration. You know, it's like we find that when it comes to divine wisdom, our fathers dealt with this more than with any other field of knowledge. So how is it that we are still poorer in this knowledge more than any other knowledge in the world? And what the Rav Ashlag is asking here, why we are poor in the knowledge of the divine wisdom, like in spirituality. And we talks about the wisdom of Kabbalah. Because as soon as we speak again about scientific knowledge, there is a progress, there is evolvement, and it's natural progress that taking place. But when it's come to a spiritual wisdom, the question that we need to ask ourselves, do we know more than the Ari? Do we know more than the Rav Ashlag? In matter of fact, as we grow in generation, when we speak about physical wisdom, there is an expansion, there is a growth. But when we speak about spiritual wisdom, or the way it's described here, divine wisdom, there is I want to see regression, but less and less of a growth. And it talks about, when it talks about a person or a slave, for example, that crossed that sea, that departed the Red Sea, they knew more than what later on in generation the prophets knew, okay? And that came after, like 100 years after them. And then every generation, the divine wisdom it's getting poorer and poorer, as Rav Ashlag is explaining. It's getting lower and lower. And the question is, again, why there is no progress in divinity? And we'll see how it's all connected to the question of today, why we are stuck, why we're still stuck. And it says here, En להפריד שכל מהגוף, which means one cannot separate the mind and the body. One should know that it is a rule in all aspects of knowledge that it cannot be revealed to us in all its purity unless this does us some good. If it does us any harm, then we can be sure that the knowledge will become completely vague. And if someone will push it and force it into our brains, it will not stay there long. We will scatter it away and forget all about it. Have you heard about the reality of pain? You know, kids, when they were abused, when people were abused as kids, somehow they forgot that they got abused. But maybe in a later stage in their life, they were willing to remember. And, you know, or they forgot, or they suppressed the information, they push it aside. And if someone will ask them, were you abused? Most kids, most people will say no. But later on in time, in a later stage, there's an awakening. And the question is, how can it be? How someone can forget that he was abused? And Rav Ashlag shared with us that there are two forces in our life that are driven by pleasure and are driven by pain. We run in away from pain and we running towards pleasure. We running from a lot of pain to less pain. And this is the natural instincts of the body that really affecting the brain or the mind. So the mind and the body connect to one another. Everything that is in our perspective, that we said this will not bring me any good somehow, we will suppress it, we will forget about it, we'll put it aside, even if someone will tell us 10 times, but if that it will be good for me. But if my perspective or my opinion, I'm going to get hurt by this information, my body and the mind will find a way not to hold it on to this information, because this is a natural tendency. What we perceive as pain will always remain outside. We'll suppress it, we'll delete it, or we'll just put it outside from our conscious. It probably will remain in our subconscious. Unless I'm willing to go through this pain, I'm holding this pain, I'm experiencing this pain. And if I'm doing it, probably in my mind, I'm thinking, there is like much worse pain than this. And then I will remember this. If we'll have a choice to the body and the mind and to the human being, we will always try to connect to what seems to be less painful for us. And there is an explanation for it. The explanation that the divine wisdom, as it says here, the spiritual wisdom, will be forgotten and will not be held. It will vaguely held. Why? Why? Rav Ashlag is explaining, because imagine the Ari is coming to each one of us and he's shaking us up and he says, wake up. Let's say he's waking us up in the middle of the night and he tells you, listen, my dear friend, I'm about to tell you right now everything about your correction. This is your garbage, this is your klipot, this is all the shortcut that you have done, all the difficult things he will share about you, all the correction that you need to do, and all the pain that you need to go through in your life, all the do and not to do, and that you need to pay for what you have done in previous lifetime, all the impossible things that you need to do, what do you think you will all say or answer to the Ari? Well, tell him probably get out of the room, right? Why? The Ari himself is coming and revealing all this truth that will supposed to help us to receive more cleanliness, more purity. But what is our perspective about change? We're asking ourselves, our mind is asking, is the change going to be easy or is it going to be with a lot of pain? And what is our nature? What is our instincts when it comes to pain? Every time that I will expose myself to a wisdom or to a person or to a situation that will force me into change, or maybe there'll be an intention that will give me an intention to change, and if I'm really understanding is that I have to change in different areas in my life, our instinct is to push it aside. If it's painful, if I understand, if I go through a process and I say, if I'm going through a process and saying to myself, okay, it may be painful, but that thing is much painful, so I'm going to choose this. We'll always choose what is less painful for me. Recently, there was a post that was posted on the social media, which is a quote by the Rav. Actually, it was this week, and I said so much in this class, that the Rav always said that a change occurs when the pain that associated with a change is less painful than staying and be stuck in the same place. So we all love to change in different areas in our life, obviously, because we in the spiritual realm, learning, studying, because we want to know what we need to change. So there is a desire to make the changes, even make the toughest changes, with the biggest klipot, biggest shells, biggest blockages. My mind and my body will say all the time, I don't want to hear, it doesn't exist, I forgot, what are you talking about, right? Or I will blame the messenger, or I will find any reason to maybe make a laugh out of it, to resist, to forget, to remove, because it's too painful to really make the change. If I need to add more love or to open my heart to someone, it's painful. What do we rather do? Oh, forget about it. Let me be busy in something else. Oh, here I'm sharing more light. Let me be busy with that, right? So what is Rav Ashlag is explaining here, that how can it be that for science, right? For science is like growing and growing, and divine wisdom is getting poorer and poorer. How we can really keep all this information from 1,000 years ago, from 2,000 years ago, and really how we can expand more of the divine wisdom, because it's very difficult. Why? Rav Ashlag is explaining it's very difficult, it's painful to hear where we need to change. Our behavior, our thoughts, who we are, neighborhood, because when he talks about wisdom equal connecting to the light of the Creator. Connecting to the light of the Creator equal change. And if I expose myself to it, I will find out how far and distance I am from the light of the Creator. So who we are and what we are rejecting, what we're really pushing aside. In matter of fact, when we're rejecting this process of getting through the change because it's painful, we're rejecting the light of the Creator. In matter of fact, we're rejecting the light. We're putting like this veil, we're putting these curtains between us to the light, between us to people, between us to wisdom. And if you will ask, Why I don't feel the light? The light is infinite. The light is everywhere. What does it mean? I don't feel the light. You know, oh wow, I felt this energy. And other people do not feel, and they do not say anything if they feel energy or not. Why we are not feeling this energy? What does it mean? The light is not our creator, the light is not in my life. Why we do not feel? Because we do not want to feel. We want to feel that it's fun, and not when someone is telling me or forcing me to change. There's no other message than just to understand that we are the one that are responsible of putting this veil between us to the wisdom, between us to the light, between us to change. And this is basically a big issue. But let's move a bit to the next step. In matter of fact, the main reason, or the only reason that we can make a change in a consistent way in our behavior, that it will not be just a temporary change, is only if we reach a level of understanding or perception that the changeable reality, it's not an intellect, but it's really about feeling. It's really about us feeling and experiencing, because reality changes, and as reality changes, it's much more pleasurable than rather holding on a reality that is stagnant, that is just stuck. So it's changed reality versus unchanged reality. And in matter of, like, for example, if we are selfish, okay, if we are selfish in different areas in our life, which means we are not open in different areas in our life, or we are not connected or committed in different areas in our life. So we understand that I have a blockage. I know that I need to commit to be less selfish, to be more open. It's scary. It's scary, isn't it? Think about it. You know, when our teachers are pushing us, in a nice way, I'm saying, like encouraging us even, you know, do this. Even one time, talk to your mom, open up to this person. This is like happening one time here, one time there. It's not permanent change. It's just like that we will feel, we'll get a taste, but it's a temporary change. Because what happened after this? We're going back to being me. We're going back to be the way I've behaved up till now. Why? Because according to my perspective, the pain and the process of change is much greater than to be shut down, than to be selfish. So what's the big deal? It's better be closed-minded. It's better be shut down. Certain people are not open. Meanwhile, if they're not open, then I'm safe. I don't need to be open towards them, right? But now to go and open up and open our heart and be vulnerable and really change, and they said I'm going to get light from it, my goodness, it's scary, isn't it? It's fear. Meanwhile, I'm going to receive my protection. I'm in my cage, I'm in my bubble, I'm in my room. I feel much better, I feel much comfortable, I feel much secured, I'm okay. If I will see the result and I will see in a certainty, I will feel what may be the outcome that will take place, then I'll be able to change, isn't it? Because our natural way of being is that we are not really gonna make a permanent change, you know, unless we're gonna feel it. But this is only according to our perspective. I'm not saying that it's true or not, but change, really about change, we want to say that it can be pleasurable than just holding on our old behavior and our old belief system. Change can be a pleasure. It doesn't have to be pain. This is what Rav Ashlag is telling us. telling us we can all learn spirituality. We can all use the tools, spiritual tools, but if I'll be stuck in the perception of fear out of pain, because what we're afraid of, obviously, the pain, and change in our perception is painful. And the pain in our reality is nothing comparing to the reward. So we're not doing enough in our spiritual work. We want, in matter of fact, to bring the rewards to ourselves. The Rav always used to say that the ultimate work is mind over matter. So, okay, so I'll wait till I receive the reward, then only then I will change. Part of our spiritual work is to bring the spiritual fruit to the present. And then I can create a constant change, a permanent change. It doesn't mean that it will be easy, but at least it will be permanent. In any case, in order for us to make a change, I need, or to transform, can use also the word transform, I need to do at least once, twice, 3 times, a lot of times. But if my perspective remains the same, and I still believe that the pain is greater, I will never change. I will never change permanently. So look around at the areas that you have chose to hold on and not to make a change. Let's see, in your relationship, in business, in career, about yourself, with your children, the relationship with the Creator, you know. I'm sure that you can, if we connect those areas with fear and pain rather than change, if I need to open up, it's basically the fear to be vulnerable and that I will get hurt. If I need to be more, to confront more, the fear is that I will be judged. If I need to be more real, right? If the change makes me to be more real and to let go of different situations in my life or let go of people out of my life, I have a fear maybe to remain alone. There are a lot of fears that connect all of them into change, and we wanted to identify all of this. And so I hope that as I speak, you start to think, or maybe you can write down to yourself those areas that you identify up till now, that there's much more fear there to make a change than and to stay there. And each one of us has this fear of transforming in those areas that we are stuck in our life, and we want and we should strengthen those areas. And those are the places where fear and pain are, again, much greater. But with every push, every effort that we put, if it doesn't happen, if I'm blocking it in my subconsciousness, when I'm blocking the light to help us, because we keep saying, oh, it's too painful, let's block it. And the message that we are sending to the universe is like, oh, I'm too much in pain, and this is what we'll get back. But if we'll transform the way we think, if we transform our consciousness about this, we'll open our awareness for that, the universe will start helping us. Because I want that each one of us identify an area in your life that you chose, that you know that you're stuck and you chose to strengthen it. I want to ask you, what is this fear that you have in that area? What is the fear of change that you have in this area? And I know this is a live stream, so I'm encouraging you to email me or your teachers, but you can email me at rachel.madar@kabbalah.com about those areas that you feel stuck, that you feel you have this fear in that area, that you fear of change that you have. What is the pain that you're afraid to experience if you will change? Or even in the process of the transformation, even if you believe that at the end everything will be okay, but in the middle of the process it's too painful. What is that fear? And what is that we need to do? What is the spiritual work that we need to do? So there are a couple ways of changing, right? The difficult or the hard way is that when the pain in life and the chaos that the fear and the change will cause me will be so much greater from the pain of the change itself. And then we'll say, okay, what's the problem? Okay, what's the problem? So I'll change. Because this is what chaos is causing us. The pain from the chaos causing the pain, and the pain of the change, and is much greater. And then I really just say, okay, it's enough. I need to change that. And you know, a lot of us are waking up, awaken into spirituality and change because of the chaos that exists in our life. But we do not want to wait for that life will hit us in our face, right? Because the other way is to use technology, the different technologies, the spiritual technologies, in a form of meditation, for example, in a form of scanning and using the Zohar, or using the 72 names, to do the Ana Bekoach, to visualize the changeable reality and to bring it to the present, instead of focusing on the pain and what could have happened or what can happen to us if I will make this transformation and I hope that the light will help me. This is nothing when the reward is much greater and I'm already feeling it. Of course, there'll be a challenge in the way. It may be a bit difficult, but it's not really a big deal. Now it's the big deal, because I don't know what is happening behind this curtain. And I want to change this perception. I want to change this belief system, because the work or the job of the evil inclination is to make the reward in my head this small, to really make it smaller, that I will not see that it's a bigger slide that can happen there. My job is to expand the level of the reward, to expand the level of the blessing, to expand the level of the freedom and the reality, and this amazing reality that will arrive to us as we go into this process of change. And if you just want to take this principle, I suggest to you, now we're in the middle of this month of Sagittarius, month of miracle. Let's take this 20 days that's coming up, that is the holiday of Hanukkah and the new moon of Capricorn. Let's take 20 days starting today, that we say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to take 10 minutes that I'm going to do meditation. Actually, I just suggested to someone to take 30 minutes. So between 10 minutes to 30 minutes a day. Make yourself a meditation that you visualize the reality. You can, instead of meditation, you can take, obviously I always recommend to take the Zohar. Scan from the Zohar for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes. As you scan, imagine the reality is changing, and allow the mind, allow the brain to show you and present to you that the light is flowing through you, and how the light looks like, and also from different perspective, back and forth. Just feel it. Feel it. I had a conversation this week with an amazing spiritual leader. His name is Dr. Bruce Lipton. And in the conversation, he shared with me that 95% of the time of our day, 95% of our day, is really about thinking too much, thinking about our life, thinking what will happen, the worries, the fear, as we shared right now. And only 5% of our time we're really connected to the consciousness, which is connecting directly to the light. And even talking about this now, with us like taking this 20 days, allow yourself, like even if we have this 5% of our time of the day connecting with a consciousness, which means take yourself, again, this half hour of not thinking about anything, nothing. Just try to be present and connect with the light of the Creator. Again, by meditation, by song, by scanning the Zohar, by doing the Ana Bekoach, a certain prayer, combination of all of it. This what brings you to connect to a higher consciousness. Whatever it is, be there and just do not think. Feel the energy going through you. Feel the reward. See the reward that comes in the changeable reality. But if you do not feel the reward of the change that I will do and I will not change, unless, what will happen? Chaos will force you to go through transformation. Close your eyes for a second. Close your eyes for a second, and even now, try to imagine the changeable reality, that there is no chaos in your life, that you are not stuck, that you actually, as you making the transformation, things are opening up for you. Things are opening up for you. All the opportunities that you ever seeked for, all the miracles that you want. Now open your eyes, and now you commit. Commit for 20 days of taking actions. Commit in advance that by the end of this 20 days, you say to yourself, you know what? Then I will take, end of 20 days, I'm going to take action. 20 days, you just visualizing the reality. At the end of this 20 days, you take in action. You develop. You getting stronger. You elevate the value of the reward that accompanies to companion to the pain. In verse 234, in the portion of Mishpatim in the Zohar, it talks about compassion and the power of the light in the universe. How the power of compassion, you know, when a person is doing something negative and he needs to go through a process of transformation, to do the process of tshuva, or redemption, there is always the power of the light of the Creator that will inject thoughts of change within people. It's like this is the way that the light of the Creator is speaking to us through the awakening, through our desire to make the transformation. And if we are open enough for it to hear, we will hear the many ways that can give us the opportunity to open the doors for new things. And it's all matter, as it says here, it's all matter of desire and certainty that is possible. And if I have a desire to change, and as long as I'm carrying my garbage from life and from the previous lifetime that blocking my life, but if I really want to make a transformation in my ways, and I truly believe and have certainty that it's possible, then with those two elements, I will be able to hear the messages that the light of the Creator is speaking to us. It's the desire to remove the seed level out of the chaos. This is very important. And what I wanted to leave you with that right now is to understand that people will change. And people will change, we will change. Maybe there are things that are not really clear to us. When things are not clear to us, it's our ego. our immediate reaction is says, oh, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. And if it will be clearer to us what is our negativity, or what is that we need to change, what is that is desire for the self alone, what is the belief system that I need to shift, then it will be much easier when we identify it, right? But we want to go and deprogram everything that we put ourselves into. And we want to look at the difficult things that are needs from me to transform and that I see in other people, that maybe they're really disturbing me, and oh, I'm sure this I don't have in my life. We want to take the time. We want to take the time to stop for a second and identify those areas that I'm still stuck in. And besides what I share with you to visualize and to take the 20 days, to visualize really the changeable reality and to see the enormous amount of rewards that you will receive if we'll just add more compassion in our relationship. What a tremendous relationship we can have, okay? If we'll be more of being of sharing, if we can act in being of sharing with our kids, if we can be a being of sharing with other people, just a little bit more, we can receive so much reward. And remember, the reason we're still stuck because it's painful for us to change, because the fear is greater. The fear is greater. Again, in portion of Mishpatim, in verse 228, it says that because there's a major concept that is explained here, that one of the main reasons that we are still stuck or we're not changing is because we are not forgiving ourselves. And we had a session about forgiveness, and people who knows me know that I'm talking about a lot about going through a process of forgiveness to yourself. And the seed level is not just to forgive ourselves. It's not to trust that everything can be erased from our being, and all it's an opportunity, and all will be amazing, and the light of the Creator is giving us in every given moment an opportunity to transform everything in every given time. Every time that we're holding on any sort of negativity from our past, holding on anything that is, again, with fear and pain, and we cannot bear the fact that we are not perfect. It's all part of our ego. Instead of us understanding, yeah, we're not perfect, but in this area or in that area, but I can enjoy it. I can enjoy it because we can move forward. I just need to put myself in a place of really transformation. And understanding that it's exactly what I need to my correction to become the best of what I can today. And I want to feel, and remember, we are in the process of feeling and getting out of our mind, getting out of the intellectual aspect of it, not to think, just to feel, and feel the now and today. I can change everything. I can change everything. And I can get out from every stuckness in every situation. Just if we understand what we shared today, what Rav Ashlag and the Zohar shared with us today, it's really about understanding as long as I have this fear of changing, the pain is so much greater and the reward is nothing. If we're willing to put the effort, if we're willing just to visualize what will be if I will bring more love in my life. What can happen? If I'll open my heart, yeah, I will be more vulnerable, but the reward is much greater. So I wish all of us the next 20 days, if you take on the challenge, with the help of this month of miracle, to create really miraculous reality in our life, is just to visualize and feel the blessing, feel the rewards, feel the new reality that can come if we only will make a step. good luck to all of us. And I trust and I'm sure that we can really create those miracles in our life and get out of our stuckness, the lack of better words is the only word I found for this section tonight. And I would love to hear from you more. If you have anything, any comments, any question, if you want to share your experiences, rachel.madar@kabbalah.com. Thank you.